Morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm Uncle Don. Just kidding. It's Ryan with Love the Work. 10:35 a.m. Getting a late start. It looks like I just got up because I just got up. But gonna do a little show. Talk about favorite artists, favorite albums. Let's see what we can find. Vocal Exercise 25, excellent choice. Here's the ring light. A couple months ago, maybe a year ago, my friend David recommended, I don't know if I told him I did vocal exercises or what, but he recommended this coach, Bob Tasman Smith, and looked him up on Spotify. He had this playlist, or somebody made a playlist, singing lessons and vocal warm-ups, and checked it out and liked it a lot. Actually, God, I bet I used it for almost a year, almost every day, and loved it. Most importantly, I built a habit, but I use my own now that I made with just a keyboard tracks. So yeah, not exactly a favorite artist or album, but definitely relevant to the cause. Head in the Clouds, Willis. Oh man. Matt and I went to Willis is his old name of our band. Matt and I went to Casey's a couple summers ago. I live in Los Angeles, so I go to Maine every summer to visit. So Matt and I went to visit Casey. He's a famous recluse, and I'm always trying to get him to play music. He's very talented. And as we're leaving, I think we were talking about, we do a song per week. We'd love to have you do it, kind of half joking because he doesn't, we know he doesn't want to play music like we do. And Matt said something that encouraged him he said something like, even if you just got some ideas or just some fragments, go ahead and send them, we'd love to have them or something. And when we left, we're driving away, and Casey actually texted us 2 songs, Head in the Clouds and Colby. And you know what? Let me just play a little bit, because I haven't even listened to this in a minute. But I was just almost to tears. I was just like, it's so beautiful. I don't know what you said, Matt. You worked the magic, but here's what he sent us.
Straight through the door, clouds in your eyes, dead in the clouds evermore.
I remember listening to this at the airport and just being blown away. So I don't know if we'll ever produce that, but time will tell. Hot mic. Keys to the City, Willis, all funny. That's a song I wrote a couple years ago. It was like one of the early, like within a year, it was early within a year of the Song of the Week. And it's written on keyboard, and I've been working on it lately. I used the pizzicato bass sound, pluck bass, boom, boom, the jazz bass. But up high, it sounds like ding, 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 ding. And wrote it using that sound. And hired some string players on Fiverr to record it. So now I've got tracks for it going. So I'm trying to watch my levels, and it's going to be on the next album, Never Enough, which probably won't be a year, but that's another story. Changeling Transmission 1, DJ Shadow. God, I don't even listen to DJ Shadow. My cousin Seth turned me on to him. Super talented. I know he's awesome, but I never listened to it. What else we got? Turnstile, Bleach Temple. Yes. These guys fucking rock, man. Turnstile, if you don't know about them, check out their album, Nonstop Feeling. Looks like this. And their new album, which might just be self-titled, a couple years ago, I think it was winning Grammys or it was up for Grammys. Amazing record, amazing energy. But this album, this is, I don't know if it was the one that broke them, but it's the one that broke them to me. Nonstop Feeling. It's like, I'm going to say what everybody says. It sounds like 311, sounds like The Police, sounds like Rage. Heavy, awesome rock. They mix all these elements and just make it so good. Let's see what's next. Mozart again. Man, it's like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I was doing inventory at work, and I usually listen to jazz at work because I like the instrumental, the fact that it's kind of background music, you don't have to think about it, but yet it's music, it's energetic, and it's keeps you kind of moving. But when I put on Mozart, that's a whole different vibe. Excuse me. And he's brilliant. He's very bright in the ideas that he expresses. Beethoven is very dark and heavy. Mozart is light and kind of airy. And I don't know if I would have wanted to know him as a person. Of course, there's that movie about him, which is so good. But I'm that same way with musicians. I don't much care who they are or what they're like, but because I like the music, and for me, the person can definitely get in the way of that. Superabundance, Willis 2.0. Superabundance. This song must be a song I wrote. Superabundance. I wonder what that is. Let me see.
Just so I will know it when I see it.
It's just an acapella sample. I don't need that. D Blues, Jamie Aebersold. I use these play-alongs. I have since I was in high school to help me learn how to solo. I always wanted to learn how to play jazz guitar. I mean, it's something that, even though I feel like I can do it, I feel like I definitely can't do it. Something I'm always learning. And the last couple of weeks, I've been practicing guitar each day, or almost every day, and it's so satisfying to do because I feel myself grow. I feel myself getting to that place where I want to be. I was tracking guitars for a song called War last night, and lead guitar, and I wasn't where I wanted to be, but I was a lot closer, and I felt that satisfaction of being within the reach of where I wanted to be, whereas I had been way out of reach. I would try to play, and I'm just thinking I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and so it's very satisfying to be closer and to know that I put in the work and got myself to that place. Wu-Tang Clan, these guys rock. I had was it 36 Chambers of Death, Wu-Tang Forever. I didn't listen to this one a lot. I know it's pretty good, but I didn't dig it as much. But 36 Chambers of Death is awesome. Just each song is this new vibe. So much talent. I don't listen to a lot of hip hop, to be honest, but these guys really kill. And I know a lot of these guys are still fairly active and talented and productive. So Grant Lee Buffalo is one that Brad turned me on to way back in the day. Him and Kempson listened to it. He's a great singer, great songwriter. He has this thing. What is it? It almost seems, I don't know how to describe it. Like he's a superstar, but no one knows him. I mean, I've never heard anybody mention Grant Lee Buffalo in my 20 years since I heard of him. But he's so good, and the music is so good. But I guess I feel like maybe something is missing. I don't know if he's too clever. His songs are so cleverly made, and maybe there is something missing that cleverness makes up for or compensates for. I don't know, but he's really good. Amazing voice, production, songwriting. But I guess it seems like something's missing, I guess. Beth, Matthew Erickson. I kind of wish this album was out. This is Matt in the band. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't think he would want it to be out. I don't know if it's what he would consider top quality. Just the way he can create so much vibe.
3 words when you hear the sound in your own mind. Living in a world spread apart on a seesaw. Oh, to look through that wonderful view by the seaside. Things will find their place, trying to save some face on your own time. Beth can find the right words. Beth, she has her own mind. Oh, Beth, I don't know what to do. Oh, no. Oh, Beth, I guess I'm just passing through.
Guess I'm just passing through. Oh my God. So good, Matt. So good. Bononica, Thelonious Monk. Now we're talking turkey. Thelonious Monk. Nobody sounds like Thelonious Monk. Nobody plays like him. And if anybody did, it would just be obvious that they're doing a Thelonious Monk thing. His language was so strongly rooted in the blues, but the way he would kind of tiptoe around it and ornament it with rhythm and definitely with harmony, these dinky notes super close intervals and altered notes in the chord that have a lot of dissonance. He just created this beautiful this beautiful language that nobody else could have done, and the songs that he wrote were so beautiful. I got one of those Ebersold play-alongs so I could do some of his songs on my Saturday on the jazz broadcast because I wanted to know the melodies. The chord progressions are very beautiful as well. The thing is, with dissonance, there's so much beauty in dissonance that you don't get from the scale, from the diatonic scale. Of course, there's a lot of strength and beauty in the scale and consonant harmony, but in dissonance, with dissonance, you can create that tension. You can create more release. There's more color. And he's one who leans way into that, really uses that, and is a master of it, was a master of it. Anything by Thelonious Monk, definitely check it out. He's the GOAT. Cool for Cats, Squeeze, nice. They do it down on the tune. Squeeze was this band. Why did I get into them? Oh, my ex. She would always say, "I want to squeeze you." And when we broke up, I was just torn apart, and very like, not reminiscent, trying to capture these situations and feelings, and so the band was called Squeeze, and so I bought one of the records, and they're the ones that did Tempted by the Fruit of Another. Amazing song. So good. But they have a shitload of songs. So I bought their greatest hits. And I was like, forgive my language, it was like, this is the gayest shit I've ever heard. But the more I listened to it, the more I was like, I need this. This is so good. It's the thing that at first it gets under your skin, but then you're like, this is so, how could I do without this? It's so good. How could I not allow myself this, So it's not a record, it's a greatest hits. And they're songwriters. It's Difford and Tilbrook. I don't know, their first name's Chris and something. But they're a songwriting duo. And one has a low voice, one has a high voice, and they're song crafters. The chords move like the Beatles do. There's always a strong bass movement in the chords, and the lyrics are great. They always worked with great producers to create this great sound. But I would just say, just check them out. Definitely listen to Tempted, but get the greatest hits. It's so good. They cover so much ground. One of the guys, the keyboard player, Jules Holland, he has the TV show Late Night with Jules Holland. He's from the band Squeeze. Amazing band. I can't say enough good things about Squeeze. So good. Predatory Glow by Converge. Converge is sick. I talked about them on the last show. I don't think it was last week because I was doing inventory. I had a fucked up schedule. I wasn't getting out of bed on time, but they're insane. I don't listen to them these days, but they're insane. They're so good. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Shai Hulud, love the work. Hello. Yes, I have a lot of my own music on my phone. Definitely peep that song. Elliott Smith, Ballad of Big Nothing. Elliott Smith. Guy hit me up on Reddit this week. Reminded me of Elliott Smith. he had a song up I commented on months ago, and all of a sudden he goes, "Thanks," and he said, "Oh, thanks." I can't remember what he said, and we struck up a conversation, and so I'm checking out his YouTube, and he reminds me of Elliott Smith, folky. Actually, I'll play a little bit because I meant to, anyways. Let me see. His name is John. I need some water. John Anglin. Let me find this sweetness. Apples and oranges. Hope he doesn't mind me playing this. That's fucking pizza. Forgot about the ads. Matt said it reminds him of Ryan Adams' song Rock and Roll. I suppose I could put it up on the thing here.
I wake up in the mornings with one step forward, 10 backwards in my mind. Choking on memory and things left unsaid. If I could just set it aside. It's all relative, I suppose. Here's one for the road. It's like comparing apples and oranges. It's like
Well, I listened a couple times to a couple songs, but super good. Super good. I'm glad we connected. I've been listening to this guy Jesse Cannon talk about music promotion, how to grow your band, and one of the things he talks about is study your genre, study your microgenre, learn what people are doing, learn what hashtags they're using, et cetera, et cetera. You know, what producers, what photographers, et cetera. And I noticed this guy John, he had a hashtag indie folk. And I was like, oh, let me try that. You know, my mind was open to that because I'd been listening to Jesse Cannon. And so I used indie folk, and wham, all of a sudden I got like double the views on my YouTube video. And I was like, yes, Jesse was right. And thank you, John, for the indie folk. But anyways, I got way off topic because Elliott Smith was probably one of the biggest influences for us. All three of us, Matt and Brad and I, and also Casey. Such a talented songwriter. He's just the one who just did everything. He just did everything better than everybody else. Wrote better songs, played better guitar, sang better, better production, better lead guitar. Just did everything better. And his music is better, you know. Check it out. It's incredible. It's incredible. I heard Phoebe Bridgers talk about Elliott Smith. She's a huge fan, and how he would get that double-tracked acoustic, double-track vocal sound. And I was like, whoa, double-tracked acoustic, what's that? And you just essentially record the same thing 2 times, and you play it really close, and it just gives a little more interest to the sound. Same with the vocal. But I don't know if I'm not a consistent enough vocalist that my successful experiences with double track vocals are limited. So it's something I don't know. I think I need to work on more. But it's a sound that's so good, especially in the hands of a master like Elliott Smith. I'm sure there's others. Wondering again, Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull is one of my favorites for sure. I feel like I grew up listening to them, so I always thought they were, well, I won't say I always thought they were cool, but I grew up listening to them. And when Casey started listening to them, then I thought they were cool, because I thought Casey was cool. But since getting into them, I got all their records leading up to like 1975. They made tons of records. So good. Kind of a kind of a Celtic feel. A lot of 6/8. He plays the flute. Ian Anderson plays the flute, and it's prog rock. It's very ornamented. It's very classical sounding. But the way he weaves in imagery and story and language is really masterful. Huge respect, Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson. Definitely check them out. They're just one of the greatest, for sure. Nobody's Child. Nobody's Child, Traveling Wilburys. I always love talking about the Traveling Wilburys because I feel like I'm like telling someone about something that exists. But if you don't know about Traveling Wilburys, Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, George Harrison, Roy Orbison. Oh my God, I feel like I'm forgetting one. George Harrison. No, that's it. George Harrison. Oh, and the main guy, Jeff Lynne from ELO. It's like the superest of supergroups. I mean, they're all the biggest stars, you know, in music, in rock music, classic rock. And they got together in Jeff Lynne's kitchen, recorded a bunch of acoustics, and just wrote fantastic songs. Jim Keltner played drums. I don't know if they hired a bass. Probably they got some horns on some stuff, but it's mainly it's rock. It's guitar stuff. And you can imagine the harmonies, the lead guitar. Roy Orbison is one of the singers, just an icon. I could never put into words how good they are. But they're so good. Traveling Wilburys is a big inspiration for me in terms of what I want to do with this band, because I always thought of Willis and Love the Work as kind of a super group, because the thing with the Wilburys is they're all songwriters and they're all successful all by themselves. Tom Petty, he's got his massive thing. Bob Dylan, how could you be bigger than Bob Dylan? You know, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, they all have their own songs, and so the fact that they could come together and be a band and make music together, that's such a vision that I have for Love the Work. Is we are all songwriters. Casey writes songs, Matt writes songs, Brad writes songs, I do my own thing. But the thing about us though is when we write together, our music is more. I feel like that's not the case with the Wilburys. You know, the Wilburys is not better than Bob Dylan, and it's not better than Tom Petty. Some of it's on that level. You know, it's not better than ELO. But with us, with Love the Work, with Matt, Casey, and me, and Brad, it is more. And when we collaborate, the songs that we wrote together were always better, generally, than the songs that we wrote separately. So the Wilburys is definitely the inspiration that I carry for what a group could be. Let's see, Spoon, June's Foreign Spell. I know Matt was a big Spoon fan. I feel like Ryan Wing was as well. I think Brad was too. And so I listened to him at one point, around 2008, 2009. I don't like him anymore. I feel like I listened to it too much, or maybe maybe it didn't really appeal to me. But I'll tell you, at the time, it definitely did. I listened to them like crazy. And I don't know, they had 4 or 5 albums, but when I listened to them, I bought them all, had them on my iPod, had an iPod at the time, and just listened to them like crazy. Super good band, just not for me. Kenny Burrell, I think I talked about him last 2 weeks ago. I haven't listened to his records that's just him. For me, Kenny Burrell, my Kenny Burrell experience was John Coltrane and Kenny Burrell. And listen to how the compression's hitting. And that album was so good. This one I haven't even listened to it, don't know what it is. But he's a fantastic player. Great lead, great rhythm, great solo voice. Let's see what else we got. Love in Vain, The Rolling Stones. I think it's another one I bought kind of because Matt was into him. I know Rob was into him. I was never crazy about the Rolling Stones. Obviously, I love their music, and they're so good. Listened to them on the radio, grew up listening to them, but I have massive respect for them just because they keep going. There's, through their whole life, they keep making music and touring and making records, and who does that? Almost nobody. So I have a huge respect for them. But that said, I don't listen to them. They're not a band that I ever listen to and say, oh, I don't feel like listening to some Stones. Not my vibe, I don't know. But so good. Heartache, Converge. So much Converge coming up. I'm excited. This reminds me of heavy music. I'm excited. I found a drummer on Fiverr who plays metal drums. And just the idea of letting someone else play that's not within the nuclear group of me, Matt, Brad, Casey, Billy, opens up so much because I have so much heavy music that I've written that I never really developed, because when I'm trying to do everything myself or have the other guys contribute, none of us is a sick metal drummer. That's something that takes a ton of skill, ton of practice. So now that I've kind of opened that door to letting someone else play the drums, I'm super excited. And actually I have a single scheduled for release in, I think, April or May, which is a heavy song, which I've never put out anything heavy, because some of the Jazz Odyssey stuff's pretty heavy, but nothing like this. So that's something I'm super pumped for. The Shins, Weird Divide, dude. 1999, 2000, we're all working at Walmart just out of high school, and I was kind of living in Matt's barn, and came home one day and he's showing me the Shins. Nobody sounds like the Shins. It's one of those things where nobody sounds like them, and it's mostly kind of one guy. I don't know if he played everything on it. I can't think of his name, but man, he nails this sound. It's definitely a retro sound, but the songs are so good. He has that X factor that is so hard to define, but when you hear it, and he's got it. He's got it. He had another band, Broken Bells, but the Shins. There was that one record that, Inverted World, I think, was just so good. I don't even know how to describe it, so I'm not going to. But check it out. Running Down a Dream, Tom Petty. There you go. I don't know why I have Tom Petty on my phone. I never listen to him, but he's a king. May he rest in peace. I don't know what to say. I might just play some music and make some coffee. Giving to You, Traffic. I'm going to play a little bit of Jazz Odyssey and make some coffee. that stuff. I'm like with the one ear. Coffee's brewing. Rest assured.
Lay back, relax. Have a cup of joe. We're having the time of our lives. And we're making good time.
Jazz Odyssey, that's the record we made, put out last year. Cruel to be kind, Space Hog. I would say these guys were a pretty massive influence for me. Listened to them a lot. Their song "In the Meantime" came out when I was hanging out with Jeremiah, and we were making skits and movies and stuff together, and we listened to this tape every time we hung out, and it's like almost half the record is on our skit on our show. on our show, Frodo Heartfelt Shock. It was like a skit show. And we used like almost every song on this record on there. It's so good. It's like glam rock, heroic guitar, Les Paul, David Bowie style vocals, big drums, big rock songs. Super cool. Cool factor through the roof. But yeah, I'm just gonna go grab my coffee. While you listen to Rainbow Grass.
You help me find my abundance. It wasn't glamorous. It was rooted in simplicity, stupidity. Human simplicity. No, 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 you don't have to jump through hoops for me. I will put on my own show. Don't you worry. I know just the way it will be. I've got some great ideas. You're going to love it. You'll see.
Play that telly. Abundance off of Rainbow Grass. Get yours today. Still on shuffle? No. Just to complicate. Dun, 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 dun.
Won't regret it. Hours wait. Minutes pass. Time won't wait to stay. Just to haunt you.
Matt, rocking one of his songs of the week. What does your soul look like? DJ Shadow. What does your soul look like? Part 4. Yep, never listened to DJ Shadow. I bought the record at one point and never really listened to it. Cool Water, Space Hog, yes. I remember listening to this record when I moved to Texas in 2010. I was having a second Space Hog kick. So good. I talked about them earlier. Love the work. Wu-Tang, Tears. It's a good song. Talked about them already. Beethoven. I don't know. In high school, we had a music appreciation class, which is pretty awesome now that I think about it. I realized it then, but the teacher Kyle Jordan took us through the history of music, and starting from like Gregorian chant and working all the way up to more modern times. But of course, he took us through the major composers. Oh, there was a book, of course. It's course material. But of course, hit the big ones: Bach, Mozart, Beethoven. And Beethoven really resonated with me. I don't know if it was the darkness, the heaviness, but yeah, really good. Rename Love the Work, Cleveland Steamer. Golden. I don't know which one is John Theodore. I think he's the second one. No, he's got a strap. Probably the one with no guitar. I was telling my friend Danilo about Golden last week. John Theodore, he's the drummer who kind of came out on Mars Volta, D-Louse in the Comatorium. And then the next album, especially, where they did that Zeppelin, that big Led Zeppelin sound. But he played with these guys, Golden. Briar turned me on to them, and it's like, I was gonna say it's instrumental, but I guess it's not. It's kind of guitar-based rock. I feel like it's got some Latin rhythms in there, but John is such a good drummer. You know, he's playing something with the hands, something with the feet, and definitely check out Golden if you get a chance. Jamie Aebersold, Sonny Rollins, he's my favorite jazz musician. I know I mentioned that on the last show. So good. Candiria, yes. Candiria. This album, this is the one I was telling you about. While They Were Sleeping. Shows all the people on the bottom. This record, man, it's so good. Bring you to tears. Bring you to tears. Teacher, Jethro Tull. This is another great song, and it's funny, I was telling Matt the other day, this song's funny because it's straightforward. And most everything they do is more of a waltzy, more of a 6/8, boom chicka chicka boom jing jing boom chicka, kind of bouncy, and I was like, oh, and the other thing is, especially the lyrical content, it's like a father perspective, and it's very Yang, because he's kind of doing a mockery of the guy wagging his finger, telling you how it should be. Whereas at that time, a lot of Jethro Tull's music was the hippie and peace and love and openness and don't step on me, don't bring me down type of energy. And so this song was so funny because it was a hit, but it was the opposite energy. It's like finger wagging, and it's a straight 4/time. So I was telling Matt, I thought that was so funny that here's the song they had that was a hit that was like the opposite of everything that they typically do. Another one, Jethro Tull. Mox Nix, Benny Golson, Jazz Tet, and Art Farmer. I love this album cover. It's I looked it up because the sound on this record is so specific, and I was like, where did they record it? What space? And this is actually a photo of the space they recorded in. It's just a photo from the session. It was a upstairs studio in New York. I can't remember what it was called, but just the sound of the band playing in that space is a lot of the sound of that record. I wonder what other records were made there. I'd have to check it out and see if they have that same vibe. But I wonder if the space still exists. But great record. One I discovered late in my jazz exploration, the Meet the Jazz Tet. I don't even know why I got onto it. There's no major guys that I was way into from the back of the day. McCoy Tyner plays piano, cool. But Curtis Fuller, I like Curtis Fuller a lot. He's a trombone player. He's really good. Benny Golson, though. I love the way Benny Golson does. I remember maybe why I got into it, but Benny Golson plays such overtly chromatic stuff. What song am I trying to think of? He just comes out, and I tried to do it on this Saturday on my broadcast, just steamrolling, just chromatics, and he pulls it off. I'd love to listen to it for the 50th time, because the first and second and third times I listen to it, I'm not 100% vibing with it and sure what's going on, but I know that with more listens I will get it, and it will open up my ears, kind of like Meshuggah opens up my ears rhythmically. But where was I going with this? But it's something I need to learn how to do more and see what he's doing, because it's almost rude how chromatic it is. But he obviously he knows something that you don't as a listener, and I love that he has the courage to do that, because that's what he's hearing. You know, he's not playing the same thing that everybody else does, and he has a very different tone that's very recognizable. I know why I thought of Benny Golson. My friend Chooch told me he's in the end of the movie with Tom Hanks, where he's stuck at the airport, and I haven't seen the movie, but he goes, the story is he's going around collecting signatures from jazz musicians, and the last one he needs is Benny Golson. Benny Golson, he has an accent. And I'm like, Benny Golson, I've heard the name, listening to jazz for the last 20 years, but I never listened to him. So something made me get this record. What was the other one? God, what was the other Benny Golson? I'm going to look it up, because there was something on my playlist. He was a sideman. I bet it was Lee Morgan. Yeah, I bet it was Lee Morgan. Oh wait, oh my God. No, that's Wayne Shorter. But I have to look, because his chromatic style, I just have to steal that, because it's so good. Oh, maybe it was he might have played with the Jazz Messengers. Hang on now. Art Blakey. Oh, I bet that's Benny Golson, huh? No, that's Hank Mobley. What the hell am I thinking of? Well, I don't know. But anyways, fantastic record, Meet the Jazz Tet. It's definitely doing its own thing, which is what's so cool about it. Same as I was saying, the Shins, they do their own thing. Thelonious Monk, they do their own thing. Nobody else does that, and that's what makes it great. Mozart. Squeeze. Oh, Fred Spencer. These guys kill. How did I hear them? Oh, Song of the Week. No, Song of the Day. Used to subscribe to a email service, Song of the Day, and it was curators, and they would send you a song each day, and it was a SoundCloud, a playlist, on Pandora sometimes, and but they would curate these songs, and one that I got was off of this EP, Ride It Out. I think it's called Ride It Out. Look at that vibe, dude. And drummer, and he writes his own music, and plays. I think he plays guitar. From Australia, super cool though. Red Spencer, check it out. And they just came out with an album called Dream World last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it came up on my Spotify, a single that they had called Happy. And I was like, oh, this song is so good. And so I went to their page because I'd forgotten about them. It had been so long since I had new music from them. And I went back, and what they did was they dripped out 3 singles from the album, and then they released the album. So when I looked them up, and they're like on Bandcamp, I feel like they're very indie. But when I looked it up, I saw that they were doing, they did 3 singles, and then they released the album, so they had a release date in the future. And luckily for me, it was in the near future. And so I listened to the record, vibed with it, loved it, and each single was just so good. But that gave me the idea, and I told Matt, let's do that with Jazz Odyssey, which is this album here. I go, let's do that with Jazz Odyssey. Let's drip out the singles, and we'll use that to promote, get some momentum. So we did that. First single was Easy Money. Second single was Sailor, I think, which you see here. And then the third single was Making Good Time, There's Easy Money, album cover, or album art. And I don't want to say it didn't work. I didn't have a ton of experience with marketing and promotion. I still don't. I'm still learning. I'm on here doing a podcast with 0 views, 0 viewers, but still learning. But it was a cool idea, and I'm way glad we did it too. Also because it helped me to learn how to work with artists. We had videos made. Obviously, there's art from the video, and this guy, in fact, Matt Lodge with Lodge Productions, one of the packages he offered was, here, I'll make you a music video, but then I'll also make you promotional materials, which is, these little square images. And I was like, oh, that's great. That's the album cover. That's T-shirts. Here's another one he did. And so that opened my mind to that. So I did the same thing with each single. We did it with Sailor. We did it with Making Good Time. And that's what we continue to do. We have more videos to do still for Jazz Odyssey. So how the hell did I get on that? Oh, Red Spencer. So definitely check out Dream World. It's so good. The imagery is so good. I need to actually listen to it. I think I will today. I'm on vacation. But yeah, Red Spencer. Huge love. Maybe they'll be on the show one day. Let's see, I got time for one more. The Beatles. Man, what can you say about the Beatles? Help. Parlophone. Radiohead was on Parlophone. I don't know if they still are. Probably not. But I don't know what you could possibly say about the Beatles. Definitely a huge influence. Definitely a huge influence on me in terms of like what I want a band to be, because each guy can sing, each guy brings so much to the table, and that's what I feel like we have with Love the Work. Each guy can write songs, each guy can sing lead vocals, but at the same time in the Beatles they kind of have roles. It's not a free-for-all. John plays the guitar, he doesn't play the drums. Ringo plays the drums, he doesn't play the bass. Whereas in Love the Work, we all play all the instruments. So definitely different in that regard, but that's something I definitely still want to achieve with this band is, that thing where as you listen to a record, you're hearing different singers, and you're moving through these songs that are different because different guys are singing them. So yeah, that's the hour. I'm Ryan with Love the Work. Thank you guys so much. Please subscribe to our newsletter. Please check us out on Spotify. And please have a nice day.